trying to say something. Hi, Kristen. Okay, but anyway, thank you for coming. It's our webinars number 2. And then today what we will be learning is measurement. So just a quick agenda. It's our welcome, also the Blackboard tool. So we'll go over it a few more times just so that you can get yourself familiarized with the different tools that we have. Although, Kristen, you're currently on mobile right now, so some of the features may be limited. So for example, you can't write on the whiteboard. But if you were to use a computer, then it would work. But going on mobile is also just fine, even if you were to use a regular tutoring room. Also, the quick poll that we did last time, some announcements, and then today specifically we'll be going over U.S. customary units and also the metric units of measurements. So like this is what we talked about. So I believe for mobile devices, you don't necessarily see the following tools, but at the same time, your tutors will. So if you have any problem, please feel free to use it, even if you're on mobile, and then they can actually write it for you on the whiteboard as we do during the tutorial sessions. So just a quick poll again. Kristen, would you mind letting us know where you heard about our skills webinar? Okay, sounds good. So Maui College. Okay, thank you. So from that, okay, sounds good. Thank you. So from that, we should have your information on file, so you don't have to resend that to us. But so today we're going over measurement. It's basically a foundation on conversion, and then on Thursday, Josh is going to go over geometry for us. So measurements. Okay, so there are 3 different types of US customary units, which are length, weight, and also capacity. But when we're talking about the metric units of measurement, we will be talking about the metric system and also converting with the metric system. So I guess with that, we will start with a quick introduction. So using the definition from NROC, especially if you participated in our EdReady programs before, the EdReady actually gives you a quick introduction on what it is. So in the NROC definition, measurement is a number that describes the size or amount of something. So you can measure the length, area, capacity, weight, temperature, and time. And also in the US, there are 2 main systems of measurements that are currently used. So there's the metric system, which you may remember from your science classes, and also the US customary measurement system, where you probably heard of this more in your mathematics classes. So also from NROC, length is defined as the distance from one end of an object to another. So do you have any example for length? Like what are some units for length? Oh, I'm sorry. Was my mic on throughout the whole time? I feel like I was going through them, but I wasn't. I'm not sure what happened, but basically, okay, sounds good. So, can anyone name some of the units for length? Kristen, any ideas? Josh, any ideas? Good, so that's actually very good. So, the only thing is that when you guys are naming things like centimeters, meters, what happens is those are actually the metric system. So, if we go back to here to this introductory page on the definition of measurements, the metric system uses meters, right? Centimeters. It's those that have prefixes that changes the definition. While if you use inches or feet, like what Kristen and Josh had said, that would count as the U.S. customary form of measurement. So here we are. Some of the examples would be inch or inches, right? So that's when you donate your hair so that they can make a way for cancer patients. Foot or feet would be to measure tables or other furnitures. And then sometimes you also have yards. So I'm not sure if you've seen it, Kristen and Josh, but have you guys seen the Farrington's football field? So you would use yards to measure it because it's not exactly a mile, but it's definitely larger than feet, right? Like 12 feet and stuff like that. So that's the reason why you would use yards. And then, of course, miles. So whether you're going from UH to Ala Moana or UH to Pearl Ridge side, you would be using miles as a form of measurement for length. So with that, you can actually convert between units. So then you know how in the previous slide we talked about inches. So going from inches to foot is actually 12 inches. So there's 12 inches in 1 foot. And then there's also 3 feet in 1 yard and also 5,280 feet in a mile. So those are some of the conversion factors. And then on the right side of it is how you would actually set it up. So with that, let's do this quick practice right here. Kristen, are you quite familiar with measurement conversions, and do you also feel comfortable doing them? Okay, sounds good. So no problem. So this is the reason why we have our math skills webinars, right? So we can get comfortable with them. So I guess just an extra practice, I'll show you how you would start off with these types of problems. So you actually start off with what's given to you, right? So here what we're doing is you're going from feet to inches. So that's what the problem is saying. How many inches is 4.5 feet? So when you put that in, it's 4.5. So I'm going to change it to decimal form already. 1/2 is actually equal to 0.5. So we have 4.5 feet. And then we use the conversion table that we were given, right? So here they told us that 12 inches equals 1 feet or 1 foot. So in this example, you start off with what's given to you and then you set it up. So if I were to do it like this, where it's getting multiplied by a certain number, right? Would feet go on the bottom or would inches go on the bottom? Okay, good. Feet would go on the bottom. The reason why is because you want to be able to cancel the units. So 1 foot on the bottom and then 12 inches at the top. And by doing so, what you're doing is that the feet on the bottom cancels and then the unit that you're left with is inches. So so from there, you just multiply them across. So 12 times 4.5 is so I plug that in my calculator. It's 54 inches. And then that would be your final answer. So did you see how we applied the conversion table or their definitions to go from feet to inches? Okay, sounds good. And then this is also a word problem, so it actually uses the same concept. The only difference is that it's worded a little bit different, right? So in the first page, it asks you how many inches is 4.5 feet. In this page, it gives you a scenario. So the question is, an interior decorator needs border trim for a home she is wallpapering. She needs 20 feet of borders for trim for the living room, 40 feet of border trim for the bedroom, and 36 feet of border trim for the dining room. How many yards of border trim does she need? So just by looking at this, do you know how or what should we do to start off with this problem? Good. So the first thing that she needs to do is determine what's the total amount of border trim does she need, right? So it said here that she needs 20 feet for the bedroom, 40 feet, 20 feet for the living room, 40 feet for the bedroom, and also 36 feet for the dining room. So when we add all of that, it's 20, 40, and 36, which is good. She needs 96 feet. So with that, we are actually asked to go from feet to yards. So do you remember how many feet is in a yard? Yay, good job. Good job, Kristen. So you would start with 96 feet. And then because Kristen told us that there's 3 feet in 1 yard, we can actually set up our conversion system. So then would I put the feet on the bottom or feet at the top? Yes, good. So we would put feet on the bottom. And the reason why we do this is because if we have it set so that it can cross out, then we'll be able to cross off the units. So you take off the feet on the bottom and you also take off the feet on the top. What happened is you will be left off with yards, and from there you can do your conversion unit. So it would be actually looking like 96, right, over 3 yards. So can you tell me what's 96 divided by 3? Okay. Is this better? Testing, testing. Okay, 32 yards. Good. And then, yes, thank you. So anytime there's any problems with audio and stuff like that, please let me know, and then I'll try my best to make sure everything's going fine. So good. So hi Kyle. So Kyle just joined in, and then if you have any questions throughout anything, Kyle, Kristen, just please let us know. Okay, so the next US customary units would be weight. So weight is something that describes how heavy or light an object is. So can anyone name some units for weight? Okay, that's a good example. So although kilograms is a weight, do you remember how we have two methods, right? So one is metric system, the other one is also the US customary system. So under the customary system, it's actually a little different. Can anyone else guess? Okay, good. So pounds would be one of them. So pounds would be a measurement of weight under customary. So under US customary units, you use ounce or ounces, which are usually used for coins or the amount of limits of fluids that you can bring to pass through TSA. And then pounds is the measurement for food like fish, vegetables. Also, we use pounds as a measurement of our own personal weight. And also, we use ton or tons to describe heavy animals like whales. Also, we also use tons to describe how heavy your car is. So with that, similar to the last problem that we did, you can actually convert between units. So 16 ounces equals 1 pound, and then 2,000 pounds are actually 1 ton. So with that, how would we set this problem up? Oh, and Kyle and Kristen, just in case you guys want to use your microphone instead of typing, that would work as well. So please use that as an alternative. Just use the talk button at the top, and then you guys can use the talk to ask questions, interact with us. So please go ahead. Sure. So this is the pound to ton page where the conversion unit are both here. Okay, thank you so much, Kyle. Okay, so were you guys able to find out what can we do with this problem? So this problem is asking us to go from tons to pounds, right? So how would I set up problems like this? Anyone? I think Kristen is trying to type something. Also, Kylie is typing something. Would we divide 2,000 divided by 8,950? So good question. So remember, whenever you guys are dealing with the conversion problems, what you want to start with is always the given, just so that in the end you would come up with the right units and stuff like that. So by starting with that, you would put 8,950 pounds, right? Sorry, I wrote the top part wrong too. We're actually going from pounds to tons, right? Because how many tons? So from pound to tons. So from there, you would start off with the given, and then just like what we did earlier, we went back to the conversion table here. So we know that 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. So that's where Kristen got the 2,000 from. So 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. And from there, you would actually set it up so that you have this conversion unit, right? So then you want the sign that they're asking you. So they gave you us pounds. You always put that on the denominator or the bottom. So then you would put 2,000 pounds. And then you would put 1 ton at the top. And the reason why we do this is so that we can actually cancel out the units, right? So we were able to cancel pounds, and then we would be left with the unit tons. So it's actually very close. So instead of dividing 2,000 divided by 8,950, you actually go the opposite. It's 8,950 divided by 2,000 pounds. And from that, we get the following answer. 4.475. Oh, okay. Sounds good, Kristen. Yay. So that's how you would get it. And the reason why too is because if you see such a big number, right? You have this many pounds, you would want to use tons anyway, just because when you look at it, it looks more simplified in a way that there's less number to look at, even though they're the same. So yeah. Okay, sounds good, no problem. So then I guess we went over length. We also went over weight. What do you guys think is capacity? Okay, good. So we got one guess, volume. So that's exactly what capacity is. So when you're looking at the volume, right? So you can either have the volume in terms of fluid ounce, you can have it in terms of cup, pint, quart, and also gallon. So those are the different types of capacity. And then very similar to what we did for length and also length and weight, we also have a conversion chart. So the conversion chart is actually a little bit harder because there's a lot more now, right? You can go from 8 fluid ounces to 1 cup. You can go from 2 cups to 1 pint. And then you can either go from 2 pints to 1 quart, or 4 cups to 1 quart, and then also quarts to gallons and also cups. So there are many different ways of converting, but if you guys are able to remember just some of the really basic ones, like there's 8 fluid ounces in a cup, then it will help with your conversion when your conversion method and also your process later on. So here we're actually going from pints to gallon, right? So I guess just a question, how many pints is 2.3 gallons? So I'll go back here and I'll put it down at the top. 2.34 gallons, 2 pints, right? So why don't you guys go ahead, I'll give you guys about a minute just to take a look, and then we can discuss it as a group on how should we do these types of problems, okay? Okay, so do you guys have any ideas how can we go from 2 3/4 gallon to pints? So this is a little bit of a extra step, right? So we have to do multi-conversion. Okay, so we have one guess. Let's see if we were to get the same thing. So the first thing that we do um, every single time we're working with conversion problems is we always want to start with what's given to us, right? So 2.34 2 3/4 of gallons is also the same as 2.75 gallons. The reason why is because 3/4 is also known as 0.75. So you guys, we can go ahead and put it in decimal format. And this is going to be a multi-step. So for this problem, I will go from gallons to, let's see, I will go from gallons to quarts and then also quarts to pints. So we'll take on that road. So here we're given that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts, right? So 1 gal is equal to 4 quarts. Okay, no problem. Kyle, you can go ahead and try it while we're going over it. And then also from there, we see that 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. 1 quart is equals to 2 pints. So those are the two conversion information that we need. So remember what I said, if you start off with gallon, the first thing that you want is to have gallon on the denominator so that they can cancel out. So we are given, using this conversion information, is that 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. So from there, we were able to cancel off the gallons, right? And then to continue on, because we're not done yet, we currently have the current unit under quarts. We want it pints. So from there, you put 1 quart, right? Because that's the unit that we're trying to cancel out, is equal to 2 pints. So that's why you would have the desired units on the top. And then we also see that these cancel, the quarts cancel, and then we would just plug in our calculator. 2.75 times 4 times 2, and we're left with 22 pints. Ta-da! So that's how you would do multi-step conversion unit. So the first thing that we did is see how can we go to pints, right? And by using the conversion chart that we were provided here, we can see that we first went gallon to quarts, and then we went quarts to gallon. And that would be the steps on how we would have been able to do that. If it asked for cups instead, then we would still have to go to quarts first. Or actually, if it asked for cups, we could already use the last one, or we could have also used this step and then convert it on from pints to cups. So both of them actually works too. Do you both have any questions on how we were able to get 22? Okay. Okay, sounds good. So I think from there we're gonna be going into metric system. So I know throughout the time when I ask for examples, usually I think you guys are thinking of metric system as a form of measurement, and that's also very common too, right? Because when we oftentimes in our science class, we actually do use meter, liter, and grams. So the metric system uses these three measurements where they're actually used to find length. So meter is for length, liter is for liquid, and also grams is for mass. So it's very similar to the US customary system where it uses feet, quarts, and ounces to measure them. And then the also difference is that it's based on tens. So earlier when I asked you all what's an example of weight? Someone says kilograms, right? So then that kilo right here is actually a prefix that represents a number based on a measurement of tens. And I'll show you guys that in the next slide. So here, these are the basic units: meters, gram, also liter. And then these are the different units that you see based on their prefixes. But how we convert them is actually based on this table right here, where meter is 10 times larger. So deca is 10 times greater than meter, and then hecto is another times 10 from deca. That's the reason why it's 100 times greater than the base unit, whereas kilo is another 10 times greater, right, than hecto, which is 1,000 times larger than the base unit. So I know a lot of students, they get pretty confused with converting between the metric systems, but just remember that if you had grams, for example, on the bottom, if you had grams right here and you wanted to go to, and I guess you want to go to kilograms, you would have to multiply it by 1,000. And then similarly, if you're going from kilograms and you want to go into grams, you would have to divide it by 1,000 depending on where it is. So I know that's a little confusing, but we have some problems. So did you guys want to go ahead and take about a minute to solve these types of problems? Then we'll regroup again with Josh and myself, and then we can solve this problem together, okay? So how many milligrams are in 1 decagrams? So I'll be sure to put that in the conversion table page. Yes, sounds good, Kristen. So how many milligrams? So milligrams, sorry, just going back. 1 decagrams, right? 1 decagrams to milligrams. Okay, no problem. So the question is, how many milligrams are in 1 decagram? So basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to go from 1 decagram, so it's up here also, 1 decagram into milligrams, right? So I'm just gonna kind of block off the top part of this just so that we'll use that as a working board, and then we'll go ahead and solve this together. Okay, so I know Kyle is typing something, just please finish that, and then we're also gonna go over the conversion. Yes, you can definitely guess for fun, no problem. And then after that, we can try it, so please feel free to guess. Okay, sounds good. So let's see if you're right. So Kyle guessed 10,000 milligrams. So the first thing that I would do is, first of all, I always like to go back to the base unit as a way to start things up, just because it's a little bit easier. I feel like that's kind of like the middle ground for me. So then I know that there, for 1 decagram, right? For 1 decagram, it's equal to 10 grams, right? So using this conversion table right here, and I know that for 1 grams, there's 1,000 milligrams, right? And the reason why too is, if we were to use this right here, and we went from 1 gram, you're actually converting it 0.001, right? You converted it 3 times, so that's the reason why on the one side you would also have to, sorry, let me rephrase that. Okay, so then when we're given that there's 0.001 gram equals 1 milligram, we can change it to that, so that it's 0.001 gram, right? So you move it 1, 2, 3 is equal to 1 milligram. So when you're moving it, it becomes 1 grams. But do you see how I moved the decimal points 3 times? So that's the reason why it's 1, 2, 3 milligrams. So just remember those as kind of like your key points in terms of converting grams to milligrams. So when we know this setup right here at the top part, these are kind of like your conversion unit setups. You always start with what's given to you, right? So in this case, we are given 1 decagram, and then what goes on the bottom is the decagram right here, just so that you can cancel. So 1 decagram is equals to 10 grams, and then from there you also put the grams on the bottom so that they can cancel. 1 grams is equal to 1,000 milligrams. So from there, the decagrams cancel. So decagrams, decagrams, and your grams and grams. So you would be left off with your milligrams right there. And when you plug it in your calculator, it's essentially 1 times 10 times 1,000, which is 10,000. So good job, Kyle. Your guess was correct. Good. So intuitively, you can guess from 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, right? But if you wanted to show your work either for class, this is how you would do your problem setup. Good. So how was that so far? Okay, sounds good. Do you guys have any questions with these problems? Okay, sounds good. So then what about this problem right here? How would we convert 1 centimeter to a meter? And then from that, how would we convert 1 centimeter to 1 kilometer? I guess the first question I would ask you guys too is that, do you know how many um do you know how many centimeter, right? Centimeter. So I guess in terms of that, what's the conversion between centimeters to meter? Do you guys know? We can go back here. I'll just reset all of my ratings real quick. There. So how many meters do we have in a centimeter? Good, so 1 centimeter is 0.01 meter, or we can also write it as 100 centimeters, right? So you can either do 0.01 meter is equal to 1 cm. So those are actually both right. So depending on what the problem is asking you, you can either go with numbers so that you don't have the decimals, right? Because these two are equal to each other, or you can have it in its most basic unit so that it's in this format. So when we're asking how many milligrams, sorry, so when we're asking what's 1 centimeters to a meter, I think the problem, sorry, I wrote it wrong. There shouldn't be 1 meter right there. So we are given 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, right? So if we started off with 1 cm and then we wanted to do 1 meter conversion, we would have to put the centimeters on the denominator so that they would cancel. And then we would get what Kyle had said, 0.01 meter, which is also what we did when we looked at it here, right? Because 1 centimeters is equal to 0.01 since you are starting from this area right here and then you are converting it back to the base unit. So that would actually be one of your answers right here for this part, right? So I guess instead of centimeters, can I ask you guys how many centimeters are in 1 kilometer? So instead of this problem that was given to us, what's 1 km equals to how many cms? Do you guys know how we would convert that? So what I'm gonna do, just so that we're working with this table right here, I'm just gonna block off the top part of it just so that we can actually write over it. I think it's easier when we have the metric measurement systems on the bottom or somewhere in the page, right? So at least we can see it. So if I asked everyone what's 1 kilometer going to a centimeter, what you can always do is the first method that we did earlier, right? So the first thing is there's 1 km is equal to how many grams? Can anyone tell me? Good, 1,000 grams. And then 1 grams is equal to how many centimeters? Or sorry, not grams, it's meters. I'm crossing their units. Sorry, let me just delete that real quick. Okay, so now it makes more sense. So 1 kilometer is actually equal to 1,000 meter. And what's 1 meter equal to how many centimeters? Yay, good job, Kyle. So 100. So when we're able to have it in this setup right here, we would start with what's given to us. So let's start with the kilometer. So 1 km, and then we multiply it, right? So 1,000 meters is equal to 1 km. So we're canceling the kilometers on the bottom, and then we know that there's 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. So do you see how the units cancel? So that's the point when we're dealing with these types of problems. The kilometers will cancel down here. The meters will cancel up down here also and up here. And from there, we would just plug it in our calculator so we can get the final answer. So it would be 1,000 times 100, which is equal to 100,000. So 1 km is equal to 100,000 kilometer. And we can also do the other method too that we saw earlier. So from here, we know that it's times 10, right? Times 10. Here is times 10 from the hectogram, times 10, times 10, and times 10. So when we have 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, it should equal to 100,000. And it does, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. So do you see how when you're multiplying by 10, you're just adding a 0 at the end of it? So that's how we would get 100,000 centimeters. So you can either do it one of two ways. So good, you guys are doing really good so far. That was actually our last problem for tonight. Do you guys have any questions on conversion? Any conversions that we did tonight? No problem, Kristen. And I think Kyle is also typing something. Also, okay, in terms of what Kyle missed before this, no, it was pretty much just converting meters too. So what we did was we took a look at the EdReady resources, and then we put them so that we can make it into a webinar. So we also took that from NROC materials. Okay, so additional resources would be Hippocampus, Khan Academy, the New Mexico State University Learning Lab, and also our Online Learning Academy. So this is actually where Josh and I work. If you go to the following website, manoa.hawaii.edu/OLA, it allows you to go to our tutoring room. So it's actually very similar, but if you look over here, we're under our program director's virtual office. It will take you to our actual online learning virtual office, and then you can get tutoring. Also, what we prepared for today are some questions also that you guys can apply what we learned. So it goes from easy conversion questions to kind of medium, relating to units, like how do you go from centimeters, so actually how do you go from meters to centimeters to inches, right? So how many feet are in meters? So it's not just converting among the customary units or the metric system, but you're actually going from metric system to the US customary system. So, and also like what we classified our hard questions would be this rate right here. So please give those a try as an extra practice. And then if you guys need help, there are days when Josh is actually working on the Online Learning Academy, or any of our tutors actually. We're open Monday through Fridays, 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock p.m. and also Sundays from 5 to 10. You guys can go ahead and provide these questions, and then they can help you work through them. Or feel free to actually try it on your own also. And then you can go into the Online Learning Academy or email me, and then we'll be able to help you, or at least let you guys know if your work / answer was correct. So I'll type in my email address, and then please feel free to email me if you guys want to correct this, if you guys want to, I guess, just confirm if you did it right, anything. So here are some questions. I'll go back to this page shortly after I just show you guys just the remaining slides. So geometry is on Thursday, so Josh will lead that webinar. And also, if you have any questions, please contact us at ola@hawaii.edu, or also my email address, which I provided for Kristen and Josh in the chat, Kristen and Kyle in the chat. But other than that, do you guys have any questions? Oh, thank you so much. Okay, sounds good. So here are some problems, and also we'll come up with questions also for the geometry portion. So these are something that you guys can feel free to try. But other than that, thank you so much for coming. And then if you guys have any questions, just let us know. Thank you.